Maurice Washington. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Executive Talk. Those that are watching live, those that are watching on YouTube, those that are watching on Facebook, I want to welcome everybody. Remember, with Facebook and YouTube, those are opportunities for you to converse with me. During these shows, you're gonna come up with a lot of questions. You're gonna have something that you want to chime in on. Those are opportunities to communicate. So please feel free to, if you're watching on TV, to go to Facebook and also, again, to YouTube to actually start the conversation and we can keep things going. So again, most importantly, I want to welcome everybody to Executive Talk. Right now, we're actually about to start a new series. This series is pretty heavy. Every time I begin like a new series, it hits me differently. Okay, so I want you to, and my ask for you, I don't want you to do it, my ask for you is this. My ask is that you open up your heart. Open up your heart to this message and open up your heart especially to the first one, because every time I do the start of a new series, it's going to open up, we're going to look at it from the biblical point of view. Where are we going with this? Okay, there's some things that I'm actually starting to understand as you're understanding it, and so we're doing this all at the same time. And so after a lot of studying, a lot of exploration, and a lot of meditation on the Word, this is what's coming to me. And right now, we're still on the same series of character and talking about business ownership and how they merge. But these are some words that we start to throw around quite often within business. And again, we have our own ideas as to what it comes from face to face and what it means to us. But we got to look at it from God's standpoint. And also, how is it showing up biblically in our businesses? And what's the cause and effect? That's how we distinguish Executive Talk in our shows. We want to make sure we understand the cause and effect, not just what it means, but how does it show up in your day-to-day. We have a lot of challenges in business. Why? Well, because we're dealing with people. We're dealing with ourselves. We're dealing with our families. We're dealing with a lot. And as you guys know, as business ownership and also as employees, it's not easy to be either one of them. It requires a lot from you. But if we don't know where this requirement is coming from and what's happening, it's hard to really manage and come to the other side. So let's go ahead and jump into today's message. And our topic of our new series is Your Customer Service Says It All. Now, I want you to let that sit for a little bit. Your customer service says it all. Now, when it comes to customer service, there's not a business owner that says, my customer service is number one. When you open up your business or you speak to people, and you're speaking to new prospective clients, you say, yes, our customer service is top-notch. We'll be there for you. When you call, we'll answer, and we'll be right there, and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Those are all customer service conversations. And so when you think about it, again, it's part of our daily activities. Okay, let me take it to you personally if you're not resonating with that. As you guys know, when I talk, I always talk personal just to relate all of it together. When you met your husband, when you met your wife, when you met your boyfriend or girlfriend, one of the things that your customer service said is, hey, give me a call, I'll respond, I'll be there. Customer service is kind of actually part of your day-to-day. And you're very much so used to it, but we don't know the cause and effect of customer service. You know when you have bad customer service, but you don't know the effect that it has on everybody when it's good or bad or indifferent. So we're going to go take a step back and we're going to talk about customer service from a biblical point of view. And so I want you guys to open up, and if you read your Bible, you know that Genesis 1 through 27, in the first through 27, this is God developing and creating the world as we know it. Now, okay, so what does that have to do with customer service? So let's think about it from this perspective. Let's think about the weather. Let's think about light and darkness. Did God develop these with service in mind? Even light and darkness, even though that they're different, they all service each other all at one time. There is a service that happens whether we know it or not. And then let's think about it from this perspective, the weather. For those that know it's another state, when you think about Colorado, one thing that Coloradans, what we do is we complain about the snow. Now, nobody likes the snow. Everybody likes the sun, and just to go out and just feel the ray of the sun. But when it happens with snow, what happens? We're pretty upset. You can go on Facebook and look at any Colorado person, we got photos of it snowing here. We dislike it. We can't wait till it stops snowing, so on and so forth. But what is the snow for? Colorado is a very dry state. And somehow or another, it has to be moisturized in order for us to move through. Had the snow not come, we would have an interesting summer. So there's service that's happening and how God works with everything. So when you think about Genesis 1 through 27, it may seem really simple, but there's a service that still we experience day to day. Okay? So now Genesis 28, 1:28, he said, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Now, who was he talking to? He was talking to mankind. Understand in Genesis 1 through 27, there is the development of service before he made mankind. He wanted to make sure that the earth was perfect for mankind, had something to operate in. So Adam did not come in, God did not breathe life into Adam and say, oh, wait, hold on, Adam, before you do anything else and ask any questions, let me go fix the earth real quick. Okay? Let me go get the sky and everything all settled for you before you start moving around, and so we can kind of establish what this is all about. No, it was already pre-prepared. Service was already taken care of for mankind before we were even thought of. Okay? Actually, with us in mind. So 1 through 27 was based on with us in mind. He had a plan of action. So that was the service that was provided before. In here, Genesis 2:15, it says, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and to do what? To take care of it. You understand that same effort of service that God did in the beginning, he took man into the garden in Genesis 2:15 and said, now that you understand what this is all about, since you have my authority, since you have my life breath into you, well, guess what? Now you're capable of going into the garden and taking care of it. I want you to take care of it, and I will create things that are pleasing to your eye. I will create things that are fruitful and that you can eat from. I just don't want you to eat from that tree. That was the only difference in where Adam, so life was actually very simple, very easy, and very squared away. Even that communication of what not to do was a service to Adam. Okay? Now, in Genesis 3:22-23, and the Lord God said, the man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be able to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life. Take out from the tree of life and eat and live forever. Okay? So now, did we skip a whole bunch in there? Yes. Because in Genesis 3, as you guys remember, there was the fall. There was a disconnect that happened with when Adam went outside of that instruction, of that service, of that instruction. There was a care, there was a detail. There was a major detail. It's not only the instruction, it was the detail. I want you to understand detail that came with the service of communication. Okay, because he knew what would happen to him if he messed with that tree. Well, guess what? Shortly thereafter, in this particular scripture, he was banished from the garden, as everybody knows. Okay, so what am I talking about in this case? There is a point in time from Genesis 1 to 3 when the service and everything and everybody was excited. The service and life was supposed to happen in one specific movement because the base of all based on service. Everything was supposed to service each other. So customer services or service was actually a major component in the development of the world, in the development of God's eyes. This is very, very key for us to really key in on and see where we're going with this. So what do we learn about this? When God serves, it serves all of mankind's needs. He's always thinking about all the needs that come into play when it deals to mankind. Now, let's think about it from this perspective. You can say, well, how do you figure that? Are you not high maintenance? I want you to really think about your day-to-day and what you go through. Some days you're happy, some days you're sad, some days you're going through all this stuff just in one day. He understands your needs. And life is set up, God has life set up to, when you follow him, to actually service those needs. It's all set up. You never left, he'll never leave a doubt or disappointment. You're never left in that place. Okay? When God left that instruction for Adam, he set it up so that way he would never have doubt or disappointment in his life. But guess what? When he went outside of it, that was the first time he felt that. But that service initially, and the way he communicates and way he operates with us, is to not leave us in doubt or disappointment. It's an ongoing service. I want you to understand that it's ongoing. It's never temporary with God. It's ongoing because he understands the plans for your life. There is a longer journey besides just that moment. It's an ongoing service. That no for God is a continued yes when you're actually staying on the right track. And we have to understand that relationship. Now, let's talk about customer service. It's one of the first feelings. One thing I've learned, and again, I want you guys to learn this with me. One thing I learned when doing this show is one of the first feelings you have in this lifetime. You know, when you're born, okay, you go through, your mother has gone through the labor pains. She's holding you in your arms. Your father's there. Everybody's there just surrounding you with love. You are service immediately. It is one of the most important feelings that you'll ever feel in your life. Okay, you're crying. You're out of the womb. You have no idea where you are. But guess what? You're comforted right away until you calm down, so on and so forth. But that is your first experience when it comes to customer service. It's a natural feeling for you. Everyone responds to customer service the same way. When people feel in a place of depression or anything of that nature, one of the things they may feel like they're missing is that level of service, that level of care. But everybody wants customer service. Even maybe one of the meanest people wants customer service. It's an expectation of our hearts, because it's one of the first things that we're introduced to. Is one of God's first things that he cares about is service. Customer service to us actually equals love. It's a good sign that you love me. If I know that you're actually giving me customer service as a client or a person, or the time that we spent, I can actually express and know that you love me. It settles the heart. You know, when you're not being paid attention to and you don't feel that service, my heart is unsettled. I feel anxiety. I feel all kinds of other things. I don't know where it's coming from. But somehow or another, customer service, the level of service is not hitting me the certain way that particular moment. I need that. We need that. We all need that. You need that. Okay? Because again, it's one of the first feelings that you have in this lifetime. It's one of the first feelings that you're actually responsible for in this lifetime. So, customer service is natural to mankind. Let's make this whole thing initial or very, very specific right now. Because as a business owner, we think it's a brand new experience and we try to create a system and a model around it. But this is the natural experience that we all need to have. Your customer service and experience go hand in hand. How do you experience a situation lets me know something about the customer service that's happening in the moment. So again, take this both personal and also take business all in the same breath, but it goes hand in hand. My experience, how I feel about something, the reason why you want to go back to that same place over and over again is because there's something about the customer service that's happening that you love. When you break up with the business and you say, you know, I don't want to go there anymore, the customer service is probably one of the number one things that's hitting you right away. So let me go ahead and get even more personal. What was your customer service like growing up? Okay. What does that mean to you when I say that? What was your customer service when you were growing up? Did you have an interesting household where did you have a situation where your father left or your mother left or they both left? Did you have a situation where a divorce happened? I mean, what was your customer service like? So these are circumstances for sure. But how did they hit you from a customer service perspective? Was your heart supposed to experience that? Maybe you're able to grow through it, but was your heart able to experience it? How did it hit you? I want you to think about it like this. Your circumstances develop your sense of customer service. Let me explain this situation. I remember when I was about 13, one of my parents said, you know what, because you know how you are when you're a teenager, you're starting to think about 18 and, ooh, I can't wait to drive. It's that conversation when you talk to your father or mother and you say, hey, I want to go to the movies. Oh, you got to wait for me. I can't make it to the movies. And you're upset because you're saying, you know, I can't wait to drive. I can drive myself. You know how that attitude works. So I'm going through something. I feel like we're starting to butt heads all of a sudden. Why are we starting to butt heads? Our customer service, our circumstances are starting to develop in this conversation as I'm growing up with my parents. Same thing with you. We see those as little moments. Yes, we'll get through them, but these are start to develop holes in my customer service and how I'm experiencing life. John 10:10 reads, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. One thing about the enemy, he understands your livelihood. He understands the flesh. He understands what you're missing. Whatever area that's not being serviced is an area that's missed in your growing up circumstance. Yes, can you get it when you become an adult? Sure. But there's a certain time frame that if you're not even getting, there's certain knowledge that you're not receiving, it's part of the service, because again, God has set up a service in the very beginning that connects to the service that you as a child needs. So if there's certain things that are being misunderstood, that becomes a disservice to me, and I'm feeling a certain way in that regard. And again, key in on what we're talking about, because customer service seems very simple. But customer service, what I'm learning, is actually very complex, and it requires a lot. When your parents don't want you to become knowledgeable like them, I want you to think about this for a minute. When that scenario, when I said, you know what, my parents didn't want me to drive the car at that age, they didn't want, I wanted to get my license, I wanted to drive. But they said, you're not ready, you're not old enough yet. Well, guess how I interpreted that? Oh, so when I get of age, then I can drive. Is that correct? It is. But guess where the enemy's kind of lurking in my conversation right now with my parents and my relationship? He's going to do the same thing in the garden. Oh, guess what? Your parents don't want you to become knowledgeable like them. They don't want you to have that independence. You need to go ahead and get it yourself. Because of the way it was communicated to me, it wasn't like it was wrong. They were telling me the right thing and where to go and what to understand. But what was the true understanding? I'm not mature enough to actually understand what it takes to drive, both legally and also emotionally. So there's a difference in that. But there's a gap in the communication that was there. So guess what? The enemy has something going on in my head. I started resenting my parents and started wanting to fast forward life because I'm like, hey, this is where the enemy met me, because that's the same way he met Adam and Eve in the garden, didn't he? This is all interconnected, everybody. But it becomes a service. Now, there's something interesting going on in my household. I'm saying, okay, I'm fine, but I have an attitude. But now that I have an attitude, I'm trying to solve this attitude by saying I can't wait till I'm 16 and I can make my own decisions. Now, my parents and I were going two separate ways. The bond, the service that we were supposed to provide each other is starting to separate just that quick. When you serve from idolatry, okay, this is that service. When I started serving from idolatry, when I started getting upset, and when I started thinking, you know what, I can't wait until it started to develop my own paradigm of customer service. I was ready to serve me. I need to drive. I need to do this. I need to hurry up. I can't wait until. You seen people's Facebook posts, oh, don't rush to be an adult. But what do we do every single year when we're teenagers? I can't wait to be an adult. I can wait to serve myself. And all the things I had to ask for, I don't have to ask because I couldn't go get them on my own. Okay, I'm serving me. So there's a service going on, but now the enemy has developed a self-serving component within me. It's never long term. When I served from idolatry, it was never long term. So in my development, in my 20s and 30s and so on and so forth, and as I'm learning better about customer service, I had a short-term vision and understanding of what customer service really is. Because again, I was too busy serving me. Even after you serve, you say, look what I did. Do you see how I'm still serving me? Because I'm too busy honoring myself. See, the service has not extended. It's inside. It's for me. Because I'm missing some stages of that customer service personally. And so externally, I've developed a way that's outside of me. I became I had great intentions are born from this place. I didn't realize what those means and how all that worked out, but because I had struggled with customer service, I was very, very, very well intended. That's how I knew I had customer service issues. Okay, I had personal service issues. It showed up big time, but because I had these things going on, I had great intentions. How many of you are struggling with having a ton of great intentions, but cannot execute those? Fairness is huge for you in this matter. When customer service and a personal love that comes with customer service, when you struggle with it, understand fairness, you look for life to be fair. Because you're looking for one-to-one. I need to make sure that if I do this, you do this. If I do this for you, you're going to do this for me. So back to the beginning of this conversation, you serve you. Because fairness is still one-to-one. I need to make sure I don't look bad. There's a service challenge that's going on. So now, what the enemy loves is the fact of we have a broken knowledge of what customer service is. When you have a broken knowledge of what customer service is, you have a hard time understanding the depth of what customer service requires. And when you have the hard time understanding the depth of something, you will revert back to your default every single time because this part of you, it makes a lot of sense. To serve me, that's the only thing I really truly know. You know, I've gotten hurt in this world. There's no way in heck I'm going to try to serve anybody else because the enemy is going to attack a certain place. Because it says in Hosea 4:6, it says, my people are destroyed. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and to destroy. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. For your lack of understanding, it actually will start to destroy you of how customer service and service really means. It will eat away at you day by day. It's just a small little component, but then it starts to build up. It just snowballs. And it gets worse and worse the older you become. So how do you deal with it? You deal with it through your own personal agenda. In life, it's very easy to actually, because if you're talking about you're serving yourself, because you're serving something. Either A, you're able to serve others, but you're also maybe doing it from your serving yourself type of point of view, but now you're going into life with a personal agenda. The same example that I was talking about as far as when I was in that conversation at 13 wanting to drive, I had a personal agenda by the time I was waiting for 18. So I can get my own car. There was a personal agenda I had attached to me, so I learned how to have my own personal agenda because I felt underserved. So then I'm going into my adult years with this, this is how you get through life is with your own personal agenda. When you struggle with service, personal agenda becomes a service because you need to serve who? Yourself. Space and time. The most dangerous thing you have on this world is space and time. Let me reiterate that. The most dangerous thing you have in this world is space and time. Because when you have your own personal agenda and you have space and time, you don't know how to mix the two. That's a huge collision course. But guess what? I still don't know how to service, so who am I going to serve? So with all this space and time, I'm going to serve me with all this space and time. Because I haven't learned the depth and details of what customer service really is. Now I'm also searching for answers. Is that bad? So you have your own personal agenda, you have space and time, and you're searching for answers. Have you ever had that feeling like, you know what, I know something's going on with me? Number one, I'm not going to sit here and talk to the whole world and tell them, hey, I got something going on with me. Give me a year or so, and then I'll talk to you later because I need to work through this. No, you're going to try to push through. But all the while, you're still trying to open up your own business with all this struggle when it comes to service and what it really means. Because again, we have a sense of what it means. We served ourselves, but we don't know how to extend it to others and what it means to others. You just know that you're trying to fill in some gaps here. But again, remember, you're still trying to become a business owner, aren't you? You still feel like, you know what, I can take what I have and who I am and insert it into an entity. And I can start to touch people. I can help people change their lives in XYZ amount of way. Is that correct? I don't know. Where are you at currently service-wise? Have you self-assessed yourself and say, you know what, I'm very good when it comes to service? Now, I want you to hold that thought right there, because it's actually that thought. I need you to hold that thought and watch the whole series. Why do I want you to need the whole series? Because this self-assessment right now, currently, when I ask you, you may say, oh, you know what, I'm actually a really good person. I take care of everybody all the time. Actually, I care too much. Have you heard that statement? And what does that mean? Have you overextended yourself? Where are we going with this? How does God see care? Take this in. This is a heavy conversation, and I don't expect everybody to, but this is just to get your mind going. Please tune into our next show so we can actually start developing the story around how it shows up in your business. I want to talk to you some more, but actually in the meantime, I have to get back to work. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later. Have a good day.